ATP and WTA present tennis structure proposal to Grand Slams, but it gets rejected. ATP Tour Chair Andrea Gaudenzi and WTA Chair Steve Simon last week presented a 23-page deck to the 4 Grand Slams with a plan to restructure the sport of professional tennis, according to Eccleshare and Futterman of The Athletic. This came just as the Professional Tennis Players Association was finalizing the antitrust lawsuit that it filed Tuesday against the tours and other tennis governing bodies. The ATP and WTA deck proposes a calendar structured as follows. For Grand Slams: 10 ATP Masters 1000 events and 10 WTA 1000 events, with the new 10th ATP event to be held in February. The venue is almost certain to be Saudi Arabia. 16 ATP 500 events and 17 WTA 500 events, to be held in concurrent weeks. A plan to reduce the number of third-tier ATP and WTA 250 events through buybacks, allowing the tours to reacquire the license for an unspecified number of the 30 ATP and 21 WTA events. The structure would be overseen by a new board. There would be 3 representatives for the 4 Grand Slams, 2 reps for the 1,000 tournaments and 1 rep with the responsibility of representing 500-250 tournaments simultaneously. The ITF is not included. There would be 6 player seats, 3 for the ATP and 3 for the WTA, with 1 chair. Gaudenzi and Simon also proposed a commercial aggregation plan that would mean incorporating a company called Tennis Ventures, which would include the commercial interests of the ATP, WTA, and the 4 Slams. The deck says that the Slams would retain control over their domestic media rights, but international media rights and data and streaming rights would be packaged. The proportion of revenue that players get from the tournaments in which they play was a major issue outlined in the PTPA's lawsuit. But one of the main ways the proposal says it will increase player revenues is through bringing the Grand Slams into the bonus pool, which already exists on the ATP Tour for 1,000 level events, The Athletic, 3/20. Balls in their court. The Athletic's Matthew Futterman writes after mulling the proposal, officials in charge of the 4 Grand Slams have sent back a terse rejection that leaves the sport's future in a state of paralysis. The group then reasserted the Grand Slam's desire to pursue an even more streamlined calendar of elite tournaments in a bid to attract more fans and sponsors to bring more money into the sport. That product, centered on around 30 events, the men's and women's singles in their 4 tournaments and 10 further events on the men's and women's side per year, formed the premium tour that the Grand Slams proposed to the ATP and WTA last year. But that plan never went further than discussions. The tours in the Grand Slams have spent most of the past year speaking several times a month. Now it appears they are as far apart as ever. The Athletic, March 21.